being in the mood is overrated, I think. If you schedule it on your calendar, then it has to be done. It's there to be done. You've told yourself to do it.
Power to Live More with Joe Dodds.
Welcome to the Power to Live More podcast, all about productivity, organisation, well-being, energy and resilience. I'm Jo Dodds, and I started this show to enable interesting people to share their stories about how they use their power to live more, and by that I mean to do the stuff that they want to do more than the stuff that they need to or should do. It's about creating a life for yourself where you have the energy, health and space to be happy and fulfilled, spending your time as you'd like, whether that be at work, home or somewhere else entirely. That's your choice.
Hello. My name is Ellie Dodds and I'm co-presenter, and today Joe's interviewing Jonny Cooper from Jonny Hates Marketing. Joe and Jonny have met via the podcasting world. Joe thinks she was attracted by the hates marketing bit. She's listening to Jonny's daily briefings via Alexa and is inspired to do her own soon too. British entrepreneur, piano player, international racing driver and business coach, Jonny Cooper is the founder of www.jonnyhatesmarketing.com. Helping transformation professionals find more of their ideal clients more easily. Since growing a business to 8 figures and exiting, Jonny's been supporting coaches, trainers, therapists and consultants who are serious about growing their practice and enjoying a life of effortless abundance. He's also the voice behind the legendary Jonny Hates Marketing Facebook group and swears that he really does hate marketing, that is. Back to the studio.
Today I'm interviewing Jonny Cooper of Jonny Hates Marketing. I love that company name, Jonny. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thank you, and it's a real pleasure to be here, Joe.
So it appeals to me on so many levels, having been a social media marketer when social media first came along and not doing that anymore, and generally just hating marketing, I think, anyway. So. Yeah, I know it can be. It can be overwhelming, it can be disappointing, it can be expensive. All of those things are reasons to hate it, aren't they? Yes, yeah. So tell us more about you, what you do, and crucially, where you do it.
Yeah, well, I'm in the UK, but I work globally with coaches, trainers, therapists, and consultants who are serious, about finding more of their ideal clients more easily without paid advertising. Yes,
yeah. And do you work from home?
I do. My global command centre is in the Midlands, of the UK.
Okay. Excellent. So you've had quite a varied background. So tell us a bit more about why you do what you do now, and I guess that might give us some of the idea of the background bit as well.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've been an accidental coach for around about 15 years, I guess. I fell into it after I sold a business. I built quite a substantial financial consultancy business and sold it in 2003. And some of the clients on that business wanted to keep in touch with me, wanted me to help them with growth strategies and exit strategies. And I just kind of became a rag bag sort of, business consultant, a bit of jack of all trades, Well, the second half of that phrase. So, I got involved with HR and social media as that started to become a thing. And basically I was just the go-to guy, in my clients' worlds and getting lots of recommendations and that sort of thing. But I was pretty much burned out by kind of 2015 where I just, I didn't feel that at any time I was doing work that I really, truly engaged with, work that really resonated with me and meant something to me. I was just doing stuff because clients were asking me to do it and I could,
Yeah.
So I took stock, and much to my wife's horror, I fired a bunch of clients in 2015, just to try and drill down and get to the truth of, who I really wanted to work with and where I could offer the most value. And, I've got to the point now in 2018 where Jonny Hates Marketing has been a thing for about 12 months. I launched that platform in March 2017. And so I work with with coaches and trainers and consultants and therapists who, I find are a sector who are usually quite heart-centered and, very good at what they do. So they've kind of got their delivery skills. Coaches can coach generally, therapists can
therapy, or whatever the word is.
Can therapize, as a word. Trainers can train. But what they're singularly poor at is actually getting themselves in front of their ideal clients on a regular basis, enough to make their business thrive. And I read a global survey just a year or so ago. I think it was Ernst & Young or KPMG, one of those big accountancy firms. And it was basically about global coaching income. So people who describe themselves as a coach or businesses that are coaching businesses. And the average per capita income around the world is about $22,000 in the States, or pounds in the UK. So they're not earning very much money, these people, even though they're probably pretty good at what they do.
Yeah.
They just haven't cracked the code of client attraction, which, is something that I've, spent years learning how to do and really, really honed it now for this particular sort of client avatar, if you like. And that's why I'm bringing to the world and helping them get their businesses off the ground and build a thriving practice, basically.
Mm-hmm. And you talked about being burnt out and stopping working with clients and changing your business. Why did you end up with this particular sector? Is that what the difference was for you? That it was people who were heart-centered, who had a bigger sort of thing to do once they could get to those clients? Is that why you chose what you do now?
Yeah, I mean, interesting question. And to answer that, I can give you sort of insight into the sort of things that I coach and teach my clients to do. Mm-hmm. And deciding who your ideal client is, and that's singular, by the way, not plural, is a really, really central pillar of a successful coaching or therapy practice.
Yep.
And the three pillars, as I describe them, are the three pillars of effortless marketing, to me. And number one pillar is being able to tell people what you do. So, being able to answer the question, "Hey, Jonny, what do you do?" And for years I was saying, I'm a business coach, and I trotted that out to a particular networking meeting. And the guy who asked the question leaned into me and said, "Oh, that sounds boring," and walked off. And I thought, wow, it was a bit of a slap in the face, of course, and a bit of a surprise. And I guess his reaction was probably fairly extreme, but he just got me thinking, if he reacted like that, maybe most people are thinking that and not saying it. So just saying you're a business coach, isn't enough, because when somebody says, what is it you do, they're not really inquiring about your profession. They're inquiring about what outcome they could get from a continuing conversation with you.
Yeah.
So learning to describe what it is you do very precisely is the first pillar for me. And the second pillar is the question you asked, which is, who you do it for, who's your ideal client. And I think for most people, it's relatively easy to hone that down and identify it, although many people haven't yet. Because if you've been a coach or a trainer, you've worked with people, you can just look back at, what's been the most satisfactory relationship that you've had with a client, so where you enjoyed it, they enjoyed it and got something out of it, and thirdly, that you got paid and got paid handsomely,
Yeah.
And that kind of third element is what many coaches are obviously missing around the world, because they're not getting paid very much by most standards. So that's the second pillar, who you do it for. And the third pillar then is to have a simple delivery method, a product. The third pillar is the how. If the first two are kind of what and who, the third one is how. How you deliver what it is you're delivering. And again, this is a trick that many coaches miss, because they sell coaching by the hour. They just sell coaching packages, over 3 months or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the trouble with that is that people don't buy ideas; they buy products. We don't go into a supermarket to buy a basket full of ideas. We buy stuff that we can identify, and we know what's in it before we buy it.
Yeah.
It's got a label on the tin, sort of thing. And when we put it in the basket and buy it with glee, because we know what we're going to get. And if you think of your coaching business as a business that sells products rather than sells ideas, it's much easier to get it off the ground. So my product, my core program, is called the Client Attraction Blueprint, which kind of says what it does on the tin a bit. I hope so, anyway.
Yeah.
It's a blueprint for attracting clients into your business. And then obviously we can go on to describe it, what's inside it. It lasts for 12 weeks. It's a group program. Jump on it with other coaches, and get a kind of group mentality going, mutual support, weekly Zoom coaching calls, but it all starts from giving it a name and productizing it, as they say in the States, with a Z. So, productizing your business is the third of the three pillars, really. So I guess in answer to your question, what led me to working with coaches, whenever I'd worked with coaches and trainers before, I realized that I was able to help them, quite easily. That the stuff that I'd done in the past was easily transferable to my clients. And, ultimately, I think for many people, their ideal client might just be them, how they were 5 years ago, and just tell people what and show them what you did to get where you are today from where you were then,
Yes.
So, it's not complicated, all this stuff, is it? I did try and simplify as much as possible, both for my benefit and for my clients as well.
Yeah. Lovely. So you talked about having been a bit sort of burned out before and changing what you did. How do you prioritize what you do in your life now, as in, how you fit that work in? Is it sort of 9 to 5 type thing? Is it flexible? How do you decide whether you're doing your work stuff or you're doing your life?
Yeah, well, I don't know about this. I think work-life balance is overrated. I think it's all just life, and it should be in balance. Of course, balance is a key word, and it's a feeling, it's an attitude, isn't it? It's it's a philosophy as much as anything. I certainly don't do a 9 to 5. And I would never want to, because when I have an idea, or when something comes to me, I like to have permission to act on that, at least in some way, even if it's just kind of making a note of it or recording something on my voice recorder and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But if you think of the strands of a successful life, which are, I guess, work, family, leisure, sleep, all this stuff. All this stuff to me is, I like to think of it, there's those big thick cables that deliver electricity supplies, and they've got many other little cables inside them, haven't they? And they're all wound round each other. If you were to cut them, slice into them, you can see all these other cables. They're just all interwoven, aren't they? But they're all going in the same direction. They all carry electricity all at the same time and to the same place. They're just inside one big cable. I like to think of life, as that outer cable, and then all the stuff you do is just all the wonderful strands that all intertwine inside it.
I love that as an analogy. That's cool. I like that.
If you think of it like that, any of those internal cables, then if that gets cut, like your 9 to 5 analogy, then it's, it needs fixing then, doesn't it? You've got to join it up again at some point in the future. So I just go with the flow, and sure, I mean, some stuff has prescriptive time slots, like, just after this session today, Joe. I mean, I've got a group coaching program, which is the same time every week. So, I show up at that time and deliver the coaching. To something on the TV. I don't know about you, but I love these American crime series. I'm hooked on Dexter at the moment. I don't know if you've seen Dexter, but
no, I don't watch very much TV. People always laugh when they talk to me about TV stuff, because I only hear about it via Facebook.
Oh dear. So I've downloaded a bunch of that on Sky, and me and the missus tend to sort of sit there in the evening and have a glass of wine and watch a Dexter before bed.
Yeah.
So some things can and should be scheduled, but I think the idea of stopping work to go and do something else kind of fills me with horror as much as anything. You know, I want to be open to opportunities and to the world of wonder that a coaching practice can bring. You know.
Yes. So how do you make sure you get everything done? How do you manage your tasks?
I think well, I have a 3-letter acronym, which is kind of my mission statement, if you like, and it's ADA. And every business I've been involved with, and I've been involved with a few as a business consultant in my former career that I mentioned. ADA stands for automate, delegate, and abdicate. Right?
Love
so
it.
that is anything that can be automated should be. That's a slam dunk. That is if you're doing anything manually that could be automated, then just find a tool, because believe me, there is a tool. There's a tool for everything these days.
Yeah.
So whether that's mailing, scheduling posts, just sending stuff to people in reaction to something they've done, pretty much everything you imagine can be automated. And we've only scratched the surface of, digital automation and moving forward.
Yeah.
Delegations are the key thing, which is just such a huge, time saver and a growth tool, because I take the view that I should only be doing what only I can do.
Yes.
And if there's something that somebody else could do, then I find that somebody, if it's not automatable literally, then getting somebody else to do it brings such power and freedom and liberation into your business, because you've then just got a clear mind to do what only you can do. And this conversation we're having today isn't something that you would have wanted me to delegate to somebody else. You don't book Jonny Cooper and get his PA. Yeah. So it is something that only I can do.
Yeah.
And my coaching delivery isn't literally something that only I can do. I'm getting my business to the point now where I'm training other coaches to deliver the Client Attraction Blueprint program on my behalf. Something that I've created, kind of invented, if you like. I've certainly created it and written it all down and created a system around it that somebody else can deliver. So delegation, and that leads eventually to abdication, which means that the business can have your name on it and your masthead, if you like, but other people are running literally every bit of it. And the great success I had at the turn of the century when I sold my big consultancy, I mean, that was we had 200 staff, we had 8 offices around the country, we had a 10 million turnover in that business, so it was a substantial enterprise. But the only way that it was attractive for anyone to purchase from us was because we'd got everything in the business running without us, basically.
Yeah.
And the business that you build has no value if it's all about you. If you have to be there to run it, then nobody's going to take it off your hands. And I think that's why many coaching practices just close, really. When the owner packs it in or dies or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice to have that mentality. And to answer your question about what do I do to make it easy to run it, it's those 3 things that I always have in mind. Can I automate what I'm doing right now? Can I delegate it to somebody else? And if not, I'll do it as long as I want to, as long as I enjoy it, as long as it resonates with me. But what you end up with then is just a few key tasks that you do every day that keep the machine oiled, and either a machine is doing the rest of the stuff or somebody else is doing the rest of the stuff.
Yeah. And how do you make sure you get those things done? So you've decided, I love the ADA thing. So you've done all that and you have only got your stuff that you must do. How do you make sure you do that when you need to do it to buy?
Just a very, very tightly run Google Calendar, really, with blocks to do stuff. I mean, I've got a block tomorrow morning that says batch posting. So, I'll be beavering away, writing content. I write a daily brain tattoo, as I call it, which is an email that goes out to my subscriber list. And it's repurposed then onto Facebook as a post. It's repurposed on LinkedIn as well as a post. And as you know, we were talking earlier before we went on air, it's repurposed as a Alexa flash briefing, which is a sort of latest generation way of delivering content to your followers. But that all stems from basically me sitting down for a few hours a week and just writing stuff.
Yeah.
And it's repurposed into those other 3 channels as well as an email, which is, it just to be quite an efficient way to do it. But yeah, I mean, if you need to do stuff, I mean, just schedule time to do it and get it done.
Get it done. Yeah, the batching I think is really helpful, isn't it? When you're sort of in a mode that you can get a lot done. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but even if you're not, I mean, being in the mood is overrated, I think. If you schedule it on your calendar, then it has to be done. It's there to be done. You've told yourself to do it. And quite often I'll write or speak or record or go on a live show or something when I'm not particularly in the mood, whatever that means,
Yeah.
But you do it, and of course by doing it, then you create the necessary mood to do it, don't you? So
yeah.
I think feeling like you want to do something is overrated as an action tool. The tool is actually just doing it, isn't it? Just showing up and taking action.
Yes. Yeah.
If irrespective of how you feel. I mean, I had a call with somebody this morning, which just blew my mind actually, because we had it scheduled for a while, and this lady dropped out at the last minute, and the excuse was that she'd been meditating, and she didn't think she would be centered enough to come on the call with me by 12 o'clock. And I'm just going, I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means. That is just nonsense, isn't it? So needless to say that this person's rapidly disappearing out of my world for good, basically. But I mean, you don't have to feel like doing something to do it. You just have to know why it's necessary to do it, don't you?
Yeah. I love that. So just for the purposes of people listening who might not know about the Alexa flash briefings, just describe that a little bit more.
Yeah, it's really exciting, guys. I mean, if any of you, I know Joe included, obviously by definition is a podcaster, and any of you listening have your own podcast. The Alexa Flash Briefing is a micro podcast, the best way to describe it. The optimum time for it is 1 minute. So most of us could come on a recording and speak for a minute, I guess.
Yeah.
Although there is an art to trimming out the fat and getting it down to 1 minute. And the optimum is to broadcast once a day, so literally 7 days a week. And Alexa is an Amazon brand, as you probably know. These Alexa connected home devices are available through Amazon. You can get one for as little as 39 quid. I bought my Amazon Dot for 39 quid the other day.
Yeah.
And you just plug them in, basically. And then what it does, it delivers you answers to questions. So it's an intelligent assistant, like Siri, but better. It actually understands. In fact, it understood from the get-go everything I asked it. It's never misinterpreted anything I've said, which is amazing. I didn't have to teach it.
No.
And then there's 48 million of these devices connected around the world that Amazon have sold at various price points. So it's a huge ecosystem of potential followers. But the flash briefings are accessible by giving Alexa the instruction, either Alexa Flash Briefing or Alexa News. And it seems to be preloaded. Mine was with the BBC News, but now I've subscribed to my own flash briefing, which is called Jonny Hates Marketing. I just say Alexa Flash Briefing. It delivers my flash briefing, so I can listen to myself in the morning, just to make sure I'm not babbling and making sense, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. I mean, I've only been doing it for a week, but in the first 7 days, I've had nearly 200 downloads. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I think when I started my podcast and buried it away in iTunes and through Libsyn and that sort of thing, I don't think that many people managed to find it organically. But I've done literally zero marketing, and my Alexa guy has told me it's because there's only like 2,000 flash briefings at the moment, so there's not a lot of competition.
No,
there's probably 2 million.
Yeah.
2 million podcasts out there. So it's an order of magnitude easier to get found. So maybe that's something we should all do, given the relatively light touch. I'm telling you, you've talked about batching. My batching is half an hour a month. Well, it's probably going to be an hour actually once I've uploaded them. So an hour once a month, and I'll record 30 flash briefings and not even think about it for a month, and then
No,
it just goes out. And,
exactly. So watch out for a Power to Live More flash briefing coming to an Alexa near you soon.
yes, please. I will subscribe when it's live. Tell me. Yeah.
Lovely. So what about tools and apps? You've talked about automation, so I'm assuming that there'll be some stuff that you're using for that to happen. What do you recommend?
Yeah, there's such a great choice, and I'm sometimes reluctant to recommend because, my recommendation only comes from a point where it's something I'm using. It's not saying that I've tried all the possible competition to see if there's anything any better, but I use Active Campaign for my mail automations, which integrates really well with my WordPress website.
Yeah.
So my content creation sort of entry point is the WordPress website. So I write a Daily Brain tattoo into WordPress every single day. That's populated then through an RSS feed to Active Campaign, which then sends it to all my my mailing list every morning at 10 o'clock. I also push it out onto my Facebook group. Now, I don't use an automation tool for that. And here's a really cool kind of tactical level lesson for anybody listening. If you use Buffer or Hootsuite or any third-party automation platform, Facebook will not show your post to as many people.
Yeah.
So Facebook doesn't like third-party tools doing that.
No.
And not only that, but there's actually no need to, because if you have a Facebook group or a page, you can actually schedule posts natively within Facebook. So you can set up, posts in advance. It might mean a bit of copy and pasting, which of course, I've got my VA does that anyway from the Daily Brain tattoo.
Yeah.
And then I record my Alexa flash briefings using a really cool iPhone app called Podbean.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, in fact, that's not the recording app. The recording app is called Boss Jock, but it actually then uploads through Podbean, which is kind of a Libsyn style thing, which is better for flash briefings than Libsyn is. It's much less complicated.
Right. Yeah.
So Podbean's me tool to actually get it into Alexa. In terms of other tools, let me have a think. Yeah, I think the one that's made the most difference to me as a coach, and this applies to anybody who fixes a lot of meetings with clients or prospects, think about the dynamic of actually trying to align your diary with somebody else's if you're doing this manually, right? And you go, how you fix Tuesday morning? They'll go, can't do Tuesday morning. How about Wednesday afternoon? Can't do Wednesday afternoon. How about Wednesday evening? And this just goes on for bloody hours and days sometimes, And I've had people give up because we can't find a mutually convenient time,
Yeah.
So what's completely transformed that 180 degrees and just made night and day difference is to use a calendar scheduler.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you do this. I know you do actually because I've used yours.
Yeah.
Calendly, or I use You Can Book Me. I found that's really nice and easy to design and put your own logos on it and stuff like that. So now if I say to somebody, let's jump on a call and see if there's some synergy and let's get the show on the road, I'll just send them a link to my scheduler and they route through that till they find something that suits them, and Bob's your uncle, your job's done, isn't it? There's no more intervention from me, no toing and froing. The backstory to that, of course, is that you have to be very concise and precise with your Google Calendar scheduling. So, I'll only allow open slots when you are literally open.
Yes.
So, if you've got a glaring open slot in your Google Calendar, believe me, somebody will book it. If you send your link out there. So, just make sure it's a time that you want to work and you want to be available.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beyond that, just book out slots for yourself. Batch posting, like that sort of thing.
Yes, yeah.
So I think that's probably the number one productivity tool, or at least the starting point for productivity, is to get a calendar scheduling tool together, because otherwise you're just wasting hours trying to book people in your calendar.
And the other thing, I've used mine for years now, and I've often had feedback from people saying that they think it feels very professional. So it sort of gives the impression that you're busy, which is probably a good thing, but also just makes it such a nice experience for them, as you say, in comparison. Yeah. There is that. But I mentioned that, but that's a very good point. If you're saying,
as some poor coaches do, say to their clients, right, let's get a session in, when's convenient for you.
Yeah.
And the whole respect and authority piece is just on the floor at that point, because the client's thinking, what, hasn't this person got any more clients? Why are they asking me this?
Yeah.
So even if you haven't got any more clients, block out time for doing stuff. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm just gonna have to cough. Hang on. So what about other people helping you? You've already mentioned a VA, and you I know you talked about somebody helping you with your Alexa flash briefings. You clearly are getting other people to help you. Who helps you, and how do you make sure you get done what you need to get done at the right time and in the right quality?
Yeah, it's a great question. It doesn't always work out, certainly not first time. But the thing for me is that if I'm a coach, if I've gone to the world as a coach, I'm not, by definition, a web designer. I'm not a techie person. I'm not a coder. I'm not somebody who could wrangle with the Amazon platform and set up a flash briefing. Now, I could do that, but I choose not to. The person that I am isn't the person who could and should be doing that. So I really don't want to learn all that stuff. I haven't got enough headspace and I haven't got enough time. And it would be rubbish if I tried to do it. And, it breaks my heart to see coaches who think they can't afford a web designer to actually build their website, so they build it themselves. Now, that crashes and burns for a number of reasons. Number one is that it looks rubbish because they're not a web designer, so it doesn't serve the purpose that a website needs to, which is attracting potential clients. Number two is they've spent so much time doing it because they're rubbish at it, and it takes longer when you're rubbish at something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where they could have been actually going out, having conversations with potential clients and getting them over and getting money in the bank. And the realization is this, that people who do stuff like that often don't earn as much as you could do as a coach, as a thriving coach. If you've got a thriving practice, you've got to be into six figures, to use that thriving adjective. And I know coaches who are well into $250,000, and I've got a couple in my circles who are 7-figure coaches. So people who build websites don't command that kind of money, and that's not a reflection on them. It's a reflection on the market, isn't it?
Yeah.
Building a WordPress website, you can get one done for £300, can't you? So if you've told yourself the story that you ought to be doing it because you can't afford £300, then I would say borrow £300 off somebody and pay someone to build your website. So that's the kind of mindset, that's the mentality behind getting people to do stuff. And once you understand that, then that you expand that thinking into so many other areas of your work that you're doing, which is actually just kind of shuffling paper around or, doing techie stuff that you don't need to do and that you shouldn't be doing. Because, the cost of that isn't literally the cost that you pay someone else to do it. It's the lost opportunity cost, isn't it? The time that you've taken when you could and should have been talking to clients. That's the bottom line for me. So
yeah,
I often find myself now, I'm not perfect at this, but the underlying mindset is certainly perfect, and what you should be aspiring to. I find myself, slap myself around the face and going, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?" I just look up from a screen where I've spent an hour designing something, and I mean there's another thing, isn't it? Design, logos and stuff.
Yeah.
Don't design your own logo; it'll look rubbish. It'd be terrible. You go on Fiverr, the clue's in the name. $5 or $10 these days. Somebody will design a logo for you and work at it until you're happy with it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Don't get into that mentality. ADA, automate, delegate, abdicate.
Yeah.
Just make your life as easy as possible. And I think if you start any business, or look, if you start any day with that in front and center of your mind, your day will be enjoyable. You'll get more done. You'll get more clients. You'll make more money. You'll have more time to enjoy stuff.
Yeah. Cool. So moving on to thinking about yourself and how you keep yourself healthy to do the stuff that you need to do. Have you got any particular sort of routines or strategies for that? You've already talked about the glass of wine, watching a nice crime thriller thingy on telly. And you talked about sleep. You mentioned that earlier. You threw that in, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying, but then it doesn't. You know, it has to be said, and it has to be continually said. I can wake up in the morning and, you know, do a bit of writing, and then log into Facebook, and I see people who've been active at 3 o'clock in the morning, and, you know, posted 2 hours ago, and this is 6 o'clock. You know, I'm going, what? I know that isn't healthy. That is not healthy.
No.
Whatever story you tell yourself about burning the midnight oil, it's a crazy idea. It's a crazy idea. It was never a good idea, and certainly isn't now. It's one of the most terrible ideas. So yeah, definitely getting 8 hours sleep when you're actually sleeping, and quality sleep, is the hub of all things, you know, because without that you will age more quickly, you will become unhealthy, you will not be functional to the extent that you could be, you know, in your waking hours. And it's just simple biology. You cannot fight that. You cannot fight body chemistry, you know.
No.
Bad things will happen if you're not sleeping properly. You're not sleeping, you know, 8 hours a night and resting properly and just giving your brain and your body time to recover.
Yeah.
So that is definitely the heart of any, you know, wellness routine. And you should get that licked before you even think about going to the gym, you know, going on a diet or anything else, you know.
Yeah.
So sleep is at the heart of it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we can learn that lesson from our digital tools. Can't we? If you don't charge your bloody iPhone, it doesn't work, does it? It switches off, you know. So,
you're like king of the analogies, aren't you? That's
yes, one. I just thought of that. You're welcome. You definitely use that. So sleep, and then in your waking hours, then just being kind to yourself rather than, you know, bull in a china shop for all your waking hours.
Yeah. Take
breaks, drink water. I don't know if can you hear this? Probably not that is. That's a water bottle, that is. That's a crinkly water bottle.
Very
so
good.
2 litre water bottle. Fill that up in the morning, glug away at it, and just drink it.
Yeah.
And then in actual fact, one of the corollaries of that is that you will have breaks because you have to go for a pee. So,
yes, it's a win-win.
Instead of being tied, it's a win-win. Everyone's a winner. And then, you know, eat regularly, obviously, eat nicely, you know, good healthy nutrition and that sort of thing. And I think, you know, exercise and movement then comes behind all that stuff, you know, sleep, water, fueling your body with the right food. You know, don't even think about heading down the gym or doing any exercise until you've got those things in place. You know? So,
I agree.
Your health is 90% about sleep and nutrition, isn't
it? Yeah, lovely. So what about learning and improving yourself? You're working as a coach with coaches, so I guess you're probably learning yourself specifically to be able to help them as well. So any recommended resources?
I think being too prescriptive about what you should read can be counterproductive. And I actually untangled this with a client of mine the other day. He was saying he's reading a book and I wasn't really enjoying it, but he tries to read a book a week. I said, well, don't do it. Don't do it then. Don't read it. Or find a different book, something like that, you know.
Yeah.
So I think having a reading routine is important, but only to the extent that it's, you know, you're enjoying it and it's fueling you in some way. Yeah. But yeah, I think reading's good, isn't it? There's nothing more to be said. Find a genre of books that you enjoy and just read like mad, you know, as much as you want.
Yes. Good plan. So what about if you have a day where things don't go right? You sound like quite a sort of calm, laid back sort of person, but like everyone, you have days where it all goes a bit horribly wrong. What do you do? How do you deal with that?
I just keep breathing.
That's a good start.
I know. Yeah. Well, and you know, another of my hobbies, conscious breathing. You know, God, does that make a difference? You know, after I come off the call with that person this morning who told me they weren't centered enough to talk to me, you know, it was just sit back and go, and God, yeah, everything just gets back into focus. Just get back on the horse,
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna kill you, isn't it? Whatever happens, you'll be all right. Unless it literally kills you, unless you make a mistake walking across the road or something. But, most of the stuff that we fuss and moan and worry and stress about and make ourselves ill about are not that important, really, with perspective. So, yeah, just take it on the chin, you have stuff happen, don't you? You have stuff pay you. You have people pay you. You have people demand refunds, but none of that stuff should be taken any differently. It's just part of the picture, isn't it?
I think I could predicted that answer.
Yeah, just breathe. Just keep breathing. Just go. Okay, all right. What's next? I mean, look, life is so full of wonder, isn't it? Life is amazing. I mean, I'm particularly lucky in that respect because I have a 2-year-old lad. I've been blessed with the opportunity for another family a little bit later than most people would have expected it. And that's just incredible. I just feel so lucky, and it's just such a gift, isn't it? Life is such a gift. I mean, if ever you're thinking that you're struggling in business, just look in the mirror, because being self-employed, the key word is self, isn't it? Everything that you've created for yourself is your own little world that you've made, and that's a great privilege and a burden as well. It's your game. You make all the rules.
Yeah.
And if your business feels difficult, then do something else. It doesn't feel difficult. It's up to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good point.
And being a stressed out business owner to me is a complete contradiction in terms. Those two things shouldn't be in the same sentence.
No.
If you're a business owner, you've got the privilege, which employees don't have, of literally deciding what you do. Every single day, every minute of every day. So it's up to you guys. So just keep breathing and get on with it. Is my motto, isn't it?
Love it. So on a day when you end the day knowing you've had the chance to live more, and that's where I talk about being able to do more of what you want to do, what does that day look like? What will you have done?
Oh, more impact on clients' lives. More transformation. Yeah, more light bulb moments. More clients going, yeah, I get that. I get it. Yeah. That's what feels good. And then outside of that, there's all the lovely family stuff, and just having adventures and traveling. Playing my piano as well, because that's something else I do.
I just did that before we came on the call, actually. Whenever I make a cup of tea, I always go and practice the piano whilst I'm waiting for the kettle to boil.
Wonderful. Yeah. Oh, I don't practice. I just play.
Well, I say practice. I just play too, but it sounds a bit posher.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if I was still practicing, I'd be getting better, but I'm not. So it's obviously not practice. I just play. I just play what I already know.
Yeah. Oh, lovely. So thank you, Jonny. It's been great interviewing you. Can tell people how they can get hold of you and find out more about you.
I will, having just killed my phone. Sorry about that.
No.
Yeah, well, it's really, really simple. I mean, my little world I've created is called Jonny Hates Marketing because I do. And other people who hate marketing are then, drawn into my world, and they agree with me and find out what they can do instead, So it's all about Jonny Hates Marketing. So jonnyhatesmarketing.com.
Yeah.
The Facebook group is called Jonny Hates Marketing. The Alexa Flash Briefing is called Jonny Hates Marketing. So you can shout at Alexa and ask for Jonny Hates Marketing. I think she'll probably deliver it. So that's it. Yeah, jonnyhatesmarketing.com. Go there, jump on. I do a free daily brain tattoo, which is the stuff that I write every single day. It's dead easy to read. It's only a 1-minute read. In fact, I can read it out in 1 minute on the flash briefing, so you must be able to read it in less than a minute.
Yeah.
And it comes into your inbox every morning at 10 o'clock and just hopefully gives you pause for thought, something to think about, and something else to add to your armory of knowledge and inspiration for the day.
Lovely. Thank you, Jonny. Thanks for joining me.
No worries. Take it easy, Joe. See you soon.
All this information is available in the show notes on the website using the link powertolivemore.com/, in this case, 64. And my website is the place to go if you want to find out how I can help you to improve your productivity, organisation, wellbeing, energy and resilience, your power to live more, and that's do more of what you want to do. I had a really lovely testimonial come through this week, which I thought I might share with you on the podcast, so I will read it to you. Overwhelm has been my best friend for years. It ebbs and flows and at some points feels like I'm drowning and I end up getting nothing done as I don't know where to turn and what to start first. My 3 email accounts were in the thousands with unread messages. I was constantly worrying about what I'd missed or forgotten and that every call was going to be about something I should have done. I had lists in my notebook on scraps of paper, notebooks, in diaries and email notes to myself, and all causing me to panic. I then came across Jo Dodds. She got where I was at. I told her I needed her help, that I wasn't functioning effectively, and we set a date. I'm a doer, so I turned up wanting to do, but quite rightly, Jo took the time to work out what I needed, where my challenges were, what technology I used, how I worked, where I worked, desk or on the move or both. And from this we worked out some solutions to my issues, and then we set about sorting them out. Jo gave me some invaluable assistance with some quick win software solutions in regards to email handling, passwords, project management tools, and we got to work. I managed to pretty much clear a huge chunk of emails and I'm now a SaneBox convert. I live by my Todoist list as well as send stuff over to Evernote to hold for me for when I need it. I work smarter. I know that if I thought it was useful, it would be tagged up in Evernote, and on occasions when I've had to search for pension recipe leaks, then the items I have stored magically appear. No searching for days around hundreds of folders, email messages and the like. I followed the daily plan that Jo set, where I reported back on my progress, even if it was only 10 minutes of tidying my Dropbox folders, and this kept the motivation and progress small but constant. Thank you. I feel in control, I feel vaguely sane, and I feel free now to get on with what I need to be doing. Productivity returns. So really pleased to have received that testimonial from Annabelle, and spent a really good day with her a few weeks ago going through, as she says, her sort of overwhelm and what we needed to do to get that resolved. And then she worked really hard on her own to sort that out following our meeting. So if any of that speaks to you, or you know somebody who's in that situation and you'd like to find out how I can help you, then please do get in touch. If you just email me, jo@jododds.com. I do one-to-one VIP days like the one that Annabelle's talking about. And in September, I'm kicking off a mastermind group where we'll get a group of you together to cover the same sort of things that we're talking about here, but in a group situation, so that it's a sort of mutual support scenario, but also something that is at a lower investment in terms of finances for you. And but it will include that daily taking action to get stuff sorted and done, and then sort of ticking over nicely moving forward. So if this, as I say, speaks to you and you're interested in finding out how I can help, whether that be one-to-one or in that group environment, then please do get in touch, jo@jododds.com. Again, the show notes from this week's show are available if you go to powertolivemore.com/64. And we look forward to speaking to you next time.
Use your power to live more.